Progress. Recording in Participants, your audio is not.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning to you, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Good
madam.
morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Before we move to the day to work, let's discuss about the given assignment that I have assigned you to complete the task. How is the progress of that work? Can you remember?
The 12 principles, ma'am.
Yes. The 12 principles.
Ma'am, you ask us to find 10 principles.
Not actually 10. There are 12 principles, right? I want to know whether you have done it or not.
Madam, may I read?
No. How many of you have done? Just
Just referring to that YouTube video, madam, we got some principles and the techniques there.
yeah. In the video, did you come across all the 12 principles or a few?
Madam, there were 12.
All right.
12 principles.
Right. We'll give opportunities to the first person who volunteered to present 2 principles, right?
Madam, may I?
Sure.
The first one was automaticity.
Automaticity, yes.
The second one was meaningful learning.
Right. Can you please explain the first one? Automaticity.
Ma'am, may I explain?
Yeah, it's your turn to explain the first two.
First one, automaticity. Meaningful learning means, ma'am, material should be relevant and interesting, and it should be related to real life experience. Automaticity, I could not get something.
Yes.
Reading the words accurately and quickly, madam. Is that the automaticity?
Somebody who has come across.
Ma'am, it's a subconscious absorption of language through meaningful use.
Very good. Anything to add?
Ma'am, it's efficient and rapid move.
Yeah, it's a very rapid movement.
away from a capacity, limited control of a few bits and pieces.
Yes, as the word says, it is automatic processing of a number of words or language forms, right? Okay, I hope you got the idea of meaningful learning. So meaningful learning lead towards long-term retention than rote learning, right? Rote learning is very mechanical, so that it remains only in short-term memory. But when you engage in meaningful learning, it says that it lead towards long-term retention. Okay, another one. Shall we go through quickly? Yes. Another two principles.
The anticipation of reward and intrinsic motivation. Under the anticipation of reward, the students is eagerly to get some reward, even it will be a verbal reward, or it can students can be
Something
encouraged
tangible,
giving
yeah.
a star, something like that. To they tend to learn because of the reward.
Mhm. Okay.
And under intrinsic motivation, in turn, they will be motivated to do the work.
Mhm. Okay. So you selected the anticipation of reward and intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation. Now, what you explain that giving reward something like star, so it associates it. Now, somebody has to award you the star, so it was an extrinsic motivation. Now, when you say the anticipation of reward, we have, all human beings have a natural tendency or expectation of some sort of praise or recognition or reward. And this results in, if when we receive a kind of reward, it impacts on our behavior, right? So this is something we need to apply in our classes. So it shows the capacity of rewarding. It's a kind of positive reinforcement. And the second one, intrinsic motivation, it is something within the learner, right? So it's self-associated and with pleasant experiences and its own self-motivation or self-driven factors help a learner to achieve success. Another two. So we have discussed 4, 8 more. Okay, who can explain strategic investment?
Ma'am, shall I?
Okay, Niroshana.
Ma'am, strategic investment means the success in learning is dependent on the time and effort learners spend on mastering the language learning process according to their abilities. That belongs to the cognitive domain.
once again, it is associated with an individual allocation of time, how you put your effort and attention. So it is parallel to your success. Another one. So we have discussed 5. Niroshana, can you add another one?
Yes, ma'am. Shall I say about the autonomy? That is, learning a second language depends on the student's initiative, willingness to experiment and use the language outside of the classroom. That also belongs to the cognitive domain.
Isn't it autonomy? Isn't it associated with the previous one, what you described? Okay. There are nearly 90 students, so please be quick and take one topic and just give your idea what you have come across. Yes, Dilini. Dilini Fernando, can you present one? Or any volunteer?
Madam, may I?
Okay.
Language ego. That's the sense of inferiority as learner tries to learn a second language. Next one, self-confidence. This is the learner's belief or trust on their abilities in learning.
Mhm. So how does this self-confidence affect one's learning?
And when they are confident, they can easily produce a language.
Okay. Can you present another two? In order to achieve success, a learner should take risks, feel free to make mistakes or try out, produce new language, express, engage in language related experiments to achieve or realize a given task. So this is called risk taking, right? So a language learner should feel free to produce language without worrying about his own mistakes. Then we have some more. I want to quickly finish this task for else.
Language culture connection, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead.
There, we can use the language to learn about the cultural values and the ways of thinking, attitudes, emotions, feelings, and all. So there also we can improve the product more language.
Yes, when you teach a language, you cannot separate it or isolate it from the culture that it is connected. For example, if you are teaching English, you should know the culture associated with English language, right? Because so the language originated within the culture. Sometimes in order to give the complete meaning, we need to have the cultural understanding. Some words are unique to that particular culture, right? So that we need to, that is why as teachers, we should enjoy the literature associated with the language. And we should need, for example, we should watch movies, listen to songs, right? Study how these people behave, their expressions. Especially these idioms, idiomatic expressions, right? This is unique even to our language. Okay.
And also native language effect.
Okay.
When learners' native language creates both facilitating and interfering effects on learning, that's also kind of a principle.
So when we say native language effect, it's a mother tongue influence. This can be positive or negative, right?
Kind of negative.
Sorry?
It's kind of negative when we use that mother tongue always there. It's not
Always,
such
if
much.
you use always, it's of course it will damage or slow down the process of acquiring another language. But sometimes judicious use of native language will accelerate if you use it meaningfully and purposely, knowing your boundaries. It will accelerate that L2 acquisition, right? It doesn't say that you should not use their mother tongue, because we call it, it is the language of heart, right?
Yeah.
For example, as teachers, if
අයියේ කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? මල්ලි ගියාපා.
Ransika Chaturi,
අයියේ ඒකත් හොඳයි අදහස. හොඳ හොස්පිටල් යන එක. ඒනවත්
please
දන්නේ.
mute your mic.
ඒක ඔන් කරලා බදාදට කලින් දාන්න ඉඩ තියෙනවා.
Ransika or Ransika. This is really bad. You have to be mindful. Right? I can't mute because some of you are very interactive and active members and I need your ideas. That is why I do not mute. And beside, those such behavior shows that you are not attending the lecture and you are engaged in some other work. So we were talking about
Native language effect, ma'am.
native language influence, yes. What I was telling us, the native language, we call it the language of heart, especially when you imagine you're working as the class teacher as well as the teacher of English, right? When you manage classroom, for example, when you control their discipline, right? If you use their native language, they will feel it. Than when you use it, when you use the second language, right? There are instances that we need to address students using their native language. I'm not telling using it throughout, right? Okay. What about interlanguage? Nobody explained.
May I, madam? May I, madam?
Okay.
All language learners go through a development process during which time they use the language imperfectly. A learner's interlanguage should be seen as progress, not as a failure or refusal to learn.
Okay, thank you, Chaturika. Interlanguage is a continuum. All of us are passing a particular point in this interlanguage continuum. And it is said that the second language learners, they never achieve 100% native speaker mastery of language. We will go like near native like mastery, but not native mastery. Okay, then I'm going to, have we missed anything? Communicative competence? Can
Ma'am, ability
somebody?
to communicate fluently and accurately, conveying the correct message.
When you say communicative competence, it includes several, right? When you say, yes, Sadhuri, could you please repeat it? Your answer?
Ma'am, ability, the skills that the student have inculcated in themselves to convey the message accurately and fluently.
Accurately, fluently. So when you say accurately, fluently, it is not limited to these two. Within these, we have some other competences like branches of this
Pronunciation.
communicative competence, like strategic competence. When you make a mistake, or you can self-repair it, right? When we engage in a conversation, if I feel that my respondent is unable to follow me, then I know to rephrase it. and facilitate my listener, right? Strategic competence is one thing, right? And we have that social linguistic competence. We know how to vary our language according to the interlocutor. When we speak to an adult and when we speak to a very close friend, we change the language, right? According to our social relationship, we change language. That is also kind of competence. So that is why I said communicative competence. Within this umbrella term, we have included several other competences, right? Go through it, find it. Okay, then I'm coming to today's work. So this is the list of objectives. I'm not going to read it actually. We have sessions. During the first session, I'm going to quickly go through some definitions related to this approaches to teaching methodology. And then we are going to talk about structural approach and communicative approach. And then we are going to differentiate teacher-centered, actually these are not models, teacher-centered approach versus learner-centered approach. And then popular teaching methodologies in 19th century and eclectic approach. These things are the focus of first session. Right? Okay, I'm going to give you 10 minutes. Just do not read lengthy articles, right? Just quickly find out the meaning of these terms, key terms, method, methodology. Are they same or how do they differ? Theory, approach, technique, strategy. They are interrelated concepts. Okay, your time starts now. Take 10 minutes and find the meanings of these words. Now it's 9:36. By 9, I don't think you need 10 minutes for this. So 9:45, you have to rejoin with the answers. Right. Thank you. You were really involved in the task given, right? Right. So now you have a kind of understanding of method, methodology, theory, approach, technique, and strategy. So some were not involved, but I think they can go through the comments made by the others, the active members. Why are we going to talk about these terms? Last time we talked about the history of uh, language teaching, and then we narrow down to history of teaching English, right? And today we are going to talk about methods, so that I need to give you a very clear understanding of key terms related to today's content. And if we talk about background of this goes back to 1940s one. And since 1940s, linguists and especially language specialists, they started searching or exploring more about the study of teaching methods. Am I audible enough?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
They started give me 1 minute.
Recording in progress.
Okay. So by 1940s, language specialists and linguists, they started exploring more about the study of teaching methods and procedures in relation to language teaching. Why do you think they started searching more about this? What do they wanted to know? Just think.
I'm really sorry, madam. It was not clear much. Really sorry.
My voice is not clear. Okay,
No, I just got that.
right. Now, by 1940s, as I said, then experts in the field, they started searching more about the study of teaching methods, procedures in language teaching. They started exploring. It was a prominent topic by that time. My question is, what might be the reason which compelled them to search?
To find
Like,
out the best ways for the betterment of teaching.
okay, of course, that was one reason. To find the best method, okay? And of course, they had another intention. They wanted to improve the quality of language teaching, right? They wanted to improve the quality of language teaching. So in order to improve the quality of language teaching, they started exploring more about the nature of methods while trying to find rationale for many questions existed by that time, right? They had many questions, so many issues. And by this time, they wanted logical answers, right? For example, how languages are learned. They had this question and they were trying to find a logical answer with a very good rationale. And then how knowledge of language is represented or organized in our memory. Language learning and memory, the relationship. They wanted to explore more and find out how they are related. And then how language itself is structured. And of course, what principles should be considered when selecting and sequencing language components like grammar and vocabulary. Is there a logical sequence? So they wanted to find better answers. Better means with a theoretical foundation or very good rationale. They wanted to justify their points of view. With that, they were in a constant search, right? So during this period, they had to clarify or distinguish the difference between these key terms. They thought if they can find very clear definitions, if they can differentiate these key terminology and identify the relationship between these things, they can give a better framework or they can provide a better framework for language teaching explanations in relation to language teaching, or they can give a comprehensive description for methods, right? So as a result, in 1963, a person called Edward Anthony, he put forward the model. Why? He wanted to show the hierarchical relationship between some of the key terms, right? What were the key terms in Anthony's model? He wanted to provide his ideas about approach. What is an approach? What is a method? And what is a technique? And the relationship between these three terms. He thought if we can very clearly differentiate between these three, that would be useful to describe a method, right? So you can see three models. The first one was the one put forward by Edward Anthony in 1963. He tried to highlight the relationship between these three concepts while defining what they meant, right? According to Anthony, according to his understanding, he said an approach is a set of correlated assumptions or ideas. Assumptions, ideas, or beliefs that describe the nature of subject matter to be taught. What should be taught? So according to Anthony, approach contains assumptions, beliefs, and ideas in relation to what should be taught. That was his idea, right? And then, according to him, method was the overall plan for sequentially present or methodically presenting language material. First one, determine the nature of the subject matter to be taught. And method, according to him, is the organization of that particular subject matter, right? Like the teaching order. So this is procedural. So according to him, the method was procedural. And in fact, as Anthony's explained, within one approach, there can be many methods, right? It was proven true. And technique, according to him, is the practical application within the classroom. That means what actually happens in our classroom is technique. We realize the method by using techniques, right? So techniques are consistent with the method. That was the idea of Edward Anthony. And later, this was revised by another two linguists, right? What they did was they give different names, combining approach and method. They gave the word design, and instead of the technique, they used the term procedure, right? Let's talk more about this now. If we take it into simple words, an approach refers to the general assumptions about what language is and how learning a language occurs, right? So, what do you think? Which originated first, theory or an approach?
Approach, ma'am.
Approach, ma'am.
I'm going to ask this question at the end also. So keep my question in your mind and the answers that you give me, right? So a method is practical implementation of an approach. Procedures are the step-by-step measures to execute a method. Techniques refer to the actual moment-to-moment classroom steps, and they lead to a specified outcome. I copied this actually from a note because it contained an example. right? When we take an example, we can identify this relationship. Now we know where there's an approach called communicative approach, right? And what are the other approaches that you know? We have the structural approach, right? When we take grammar translation method, it originated from which approach? What do you think? From communicative approach or structural approach?
Structural approach.
Structural.
Okay, so the approach is structural approach. Then we have grammar translation method. We call hard grammar translation method because after a few years, it started changing, and we have different versions of grammar translation method in the history, right? Okay. And then I'm asking the other things. Now you have example for approach and you have example for a method, right? And I'm asking, what are the techniques used in grammar translation method? What makes grammar translation method unique, different from other?
Translation and
Composition.
memorization.
Very good. Translating text. Okay, that is one technique. Okay, what
And
else?
memorization.
Comprehension question.
Comprehension of literary text. What else?
Memorization practices and
Yes, rote
answer.
memorization. Yes, good. Now you can understand. Now, when you say rote memorization, translation, these are unique,
Yeah.
identical to grammar translation method, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes. When it goes to.
Right. Now, when we take total physical response, like grammar translation method, there are some techniques which is identical in the method. What are they? The word total physical response.
PPR. Yes.
Commands arranged in a sequential order in order to accomplish a task, and imitation of actions, right? So those are unique to TPR. The term teaching method refers to the general principles, pedagogy, and management strategies used for classroom instruction. And each one of us become unique, and we all have unique nature of teaching. Though we now imagine, if I say I'm applying grammar translation method, and another teacher in my school says, yes, of course, I too apply grammar translation method. Does that indicate our implementation are same and similar?
No.
Why?
It depends on the set of the students and the level of them.
Is that the only reason?
And also the
Personality.
teachers or personality.
Yes, I want to hear the responses. Personality, learner factors, what else?
The available resources.
External factors. What else?
Teacher
Hmm?
person-
Your voice is not clear. If you can repeat.
The resources available in the classroom and the school, madam?
Okay, so you think the resources and learner related factors and your personality influences and causes differences between two teachers. But read more, take down this term, teacher cognition. Teacher cognition. What makes difference between two teachers implementing the same method to teach the same lesson is their cognition. This cognition contains many other things like teacher believes, your past experience as a learner, right? The models,
The knowledge.
yes, the knowledge you have acquired and your first language, your exposure to another language, how you learned English or the target language, your beliefs about learners, likewise many other things. It is not your professional skills or professional qualification what matters in the classroom is your cognition, right? So teaching theories, we can divide into two categories as teacher-centered approaches and student-centered approaches. Actually, now when we come to recent researchers, they categorize this differently, like learner-centered, learning-centered, and language-centered likewise, right? It's not actually the morale for teaching. This morale is also an outcome of our cognition. Imagine a teacher who has experienced, come across very bad teachers and got very negative influence from that particular teacher. Without knowing that past experience can come out when you start teaching, right? So now moving to the two main approaches that we are going to talk today, structural approach and communicative approach. It doesn't mean that we have only two approaches. We have several other approaches, but according to the curriculum outline, I'm going to focus on these two, right? I have given a definition for this approach: a scientific study of the fundamental structures of the English language, their analysis and logical arrangement. It's like a doctor doing an operation, right? Here, instead of the patient, you have the structure, sentence structure. So you are going to cut and chop. So, and explore more about their arrangement. Arrangement in the sense, it doesn't mean the whole sentence. It may be a chunk, meaningful phrase, even the sounds into meaningful units. There are various arrangements. The structural approach to English is teaching the learner certain selected structures. In one article I read, they believed nearly 267 structures or something. In order to master a language, they thought that they need to introduce and practice such a large number of structures. As I said, the structure does not mean a complete pattern. It can be a part of large pattern, right? So the study units are phonemes, morphemes, words, phrases, sentence types. Those who followed this structural approach, they believed mastery of structures is predominant than acquiring vocabulary. So the prominence given to the study of structures, not to the vocabulary. As we said, this is associated with some kind of assumptions. No? So the assumptions, the prominent assumptions for language learning is a matter of habit formation. So this goes with behaviorism, right? Which involves a lot of repetition and conscious drilling of language items. And another assumption was they believe that language can be taught through scientific selection and grading of structures or patterns of sentences and vocabulary. So the syllabus, then the syllabus was, sorry, the number is wrong, 275 structures, right? So they arrange these 275 structures according to a methodical order, and even the vocabulary according to the frequency. Their focus was to get the learners to master the patterns of the sentences. And they employ techniques of direct method of teaching. You know, when we follow direct method, the medium of instruction was the target language, English, and they didn't use native language. Focus skill was speaking, but they address the other skills as well. So we can say all the 4 skills were focused with more emphasis or more stress on speaking. Right? Another task. Now I'm going to give you another task. Quickly find out at least 3 differences between structural approach and communicative approach. How do they differ? What are the features of each approach? Structural approach and communicative approach. Okay, I will give you not 15 minutes, just 10 minutes to find out at least 3 points for my question. How do these two approaches differ? Structural and communicative approach. At least 3 characteristics of each approach. Quickly find. Okay. Yes, you have come across many of the features, right? I'm not going to read aloud what you have mentioned. I invite all the others to go through them. If we turn towards the principles of structural approach, they are
මං හිතේ බේනු ප්‍රස්පෙක්ට් වෙලා ඉල්ලයි හත් 12 මාතෙන්ද කිව්වොත් එන්නේ එකටනේ ඒකයි මං
I don't know why these people do the same thing. Under structural approach, the prominence was, the teaching unit was the sentence, right? Inductive approach to grammar teaching was adapted. Vocabulary teaching was very selective, and it was taken only to support drilling structures, right? And the two targets, communicative approach and the structural approach, are they same or different?
Same.
Target,
In a way, the final is same.
what was the same target?
Thing is teaching a language. So communicative approach, we get the real-time situations and the synonyms and teach them, and they gradually take what we want to teach. The structural target, we teach grammar, and in a way we expect that word order, sentences, and the grammar much. Finally they learn a language.
Learning language and goals of learning language different. So the goals of language learning under these two approach completely different, right? You know, still we follow. I'm sorry, I'm not well. It's really difficult for me to speak. Under communicative approach, we expect learners to become what? And individuals with communicative competence, right? But when we take structural approach, we expect them to master the grammar, the structures in language. So it doesn't increase their communicative aspect. They learned about the language, and those who studied under communicative approach, they learn how to use the language. So which is close to the real purpose of learning a language?
Communicative approach.
Communicative approach. Right? By learning what is language, what are the components, we cannot communicate. The prime goal of language learning is communicate. Right? So it was not reaching that goal. And what do you think about the place given for errors under these two approaches?
Under the communicative approach, we can make errors. Trial and error method is approved.
Yes, under that approach, they considered errors as a sign of learning, right? They considered errors as a sign of learning. But what happened under structural approach?
It is not accepted.
Yes.
Yes, the structural approach, the focus is on accuracy, right? So they stressed accuracy, and making errors was prohibited. Or so children do not feel free in language classrooms under structural method, but communicative approach, the learners felt free. It was a stress-free environment. And a structural approach, they involve reading in order to teach grammar and composition, right? However, even under structural approach, the skills were focused, but speaking was actually limited to pronunciation aspect. So these are the principles of the structural approach. There were 3 principles. One is forming correct language habits. Second one was importance of speech. Though here the speech means to them the pronunciation, right? Remember that, and loud reading, not that conversations. And significance of students' activity rather than the activity of the teacher. Even within the structural approach, prominence is given to students' activity, their engagement. Okay, so we need to discuss about an approach under these headings, right? I'm giving these headings for you to study for your convenience. Now, question whether you can give an introduction to structural approach, whether you know the goal of structural approach. What were the assumptions behind structural approach? What are the features of structural approach? What are the principles of structural approach? Examples of methods originated under structural approach. Likewise, this is a guide for you to prepare your note, right? At the end of the session, you try to create your note. This is the format. So when we talk about communicative approach, also you can take the same topics and consider these things. This is the introduction. It is an approach that is used in learning the second language or a foreign language, and that emphasizes on the improvement of communicative ability. That is, ability of applying language principles in order to produce grammatical sentences and understand when, where, and to whom. That is what I said, that communicative competence reaches different aspects. So this focuses on using target language as the medium of communication, right? Goal was communicative competence. I have shown you here. Wait, I'll put it in the slide show note. So communicative competence is the ability to understand and use language effectively to communicate in authentic social and school environments. It is not limited to classroom environment, but in the society also they should be able to communicate. So this reaches to several other aspects. Within this communicative competence, we expect them to achieve linguistic competence. That means understanding and using vocabulary and language conventions and syntax. And strategic competence, which means using techniques to overcome language gaps. In a conversation, when you find a gap, you self-correct it or self-fill it. Plan and assess the effectiveness of communication. You know how to turn take, you know how to respond to a speaker. So you modify your utterances according to the audience and your purpose. This applies to written language as well as spoken language, right? You know, formal and informal language. And then you need to achieve social linguistic competence that is associated with language and culture, social rules of language, politeness, and non-verbal behaviors, cultural references like, as I said, idiomatic expressions, certain vocabulary originated within the culture. And then we have discourse competence, understanding how ideas are connected through patterns of organization and cohesive and transitional devices. The flow of language. So communicative competence is a very broad aspect. This is the goal of communicative approach. Principles of communicative language approach. I have used CLA for communicative language approach. One is using the target language as the media. So while using, they learn to communicate. And the nature of activities are unique. We had information gap activities, many group work, pair work, right? Role plays, simulations, lot of communicative activities take place. And then we turn towards using authentic materials or near authentic materials. When we take our textbooks, they contain near authentic materials. For example, now in our real life, we come across advertisements or labels. So in our textbooks, we have advertisements and labels created for study matters. They are near authentic. And integration of language skills. Skills were not taught in isolation. Instead, the lessons were organized integrating skills. Right? Fluency is an important aspect. Fluency is more focused. It doesn't mean that we neglect accuracy, but we can have at the initial level in our classrooms, we conduct fluency focused activities, and we do not focus each and every mistake that they make. And teachers have to maintain a stress-free classroom environment where your focus is on motivation, increasing learner motivation, maintaining learner interest throughout the lesson. As we discussed previously, trial and error is considered, and mistakes and errors are welcome, and they were considered as a part of learning, a sign of learning. When selecting topics or subject components, prominence was given to learner. Considering the level of the learner, age of the learner, needs of the learner, abilities of the learner, interest of the learner, learning style, these topics and the grading, prioritizing were done. Learner's role and the teacher's role under communicative language approach. Learner, as he said, learner was the center or the focus of learning teaching process. He could negotiate between himself and the learning process while interacting with the group or the members or the teacher. And learner was considered as a contributor to the teaching learning process. Under the structural approach, learner's role was very passive, right? They engage in rote memorization and drilling likewise, but they were very mechanical. They were active, but like robots, they mechanically produce language. But here, we cannot predict that outcome. For one task, there may be several possible answers. We cannot say one correct answer. It's like open-ended. Right? Teacher's role was facilitator and guide. Therefore, teacher needs a lot of planning. And sometimes teacher need to be an active participant of the group work in order to provide them a model or in order to demonstrate how an activity should be done. The teacher take parts in learners' activities as a participant. So this reduced the gap between the teacher and the learner. So it was a very friendly environment and a strong rapport was established. Under communicative approach, a lot of instructional materials we use like visual cues or prompt cards, realia, recorded materials, game cards, and the type of activities, as I said, pair work, group work, information gap activities, role plays, debates, simulations, pair improvisations, and interactive games. Those things take place. These are the type of activities that took place. This is a comparison between structural approach and a communicative approach, taking certain bases. So there are 4 bases like definition. How do they differ according to the definition? How do they differ according to characteristics? How do they differ according to outcomes? And how do they differ when taking methods originated through these approaches? For example, audio-lingual method originated from structural approach. Even grammar translation method we can take. Communicative approach, we can say communicative language method and total physical response can be taken. And then if it is too heavy, we can have a break, a small break, and go for the next topic. Can you quickly wrap up what we discussed so far? There are 91 participants. You can
The
just
approaches, the methods and the approaches, madam, the meanings and the applications.
Definitions of key terms we discussed, madam.
Then the differences between the structural and the communicative approach.
Okay. I will direct you a question. If I ask you to describe an approach, what aspects do you consider? I give you a layout.
Introduction,
Goal, features of that approach, principle,
Assumptions,
and,
features, principles, and examples for methods.
Yes.
also
Okay.
we have to think when, where, and to whom that approach is focused.
Okay. Right. Remember all these things. And now we're moving to teacher-centered approach and learner-centered approaches. Right? This pie chart is a visual representation of teacher-focused and student-focused methods. Right? This is not an image designed by me. I selected this because it gives you a very comprehensive idea about these teacher-focused and student-focused methods under different schools: behaviorism, cognitivism, constructivism, connectivism, likewise.
Yeah.
Using a very small space, it depicts a large information. So under behaviorism, learner is passive and learns by external processes like positive reinforcement, rewards. Likewise, under cognitivism, we consider learning as an internal process which we cannot observe. That is the opposite of behaviorism. Under behaviorism, we thought learning can be observed from outside behaviors, right? And then we have constructivism. There we give more weight on the learner, and we welcome learner's potential. Right? We know that learner is not a blank sheet, And with our facilitation, we believe that learners can build knowledge, construct knowledge, and under connectivism, we promote that interactional view of language. Learners learn language through interaction. They get connected to people, and they create knowledge and improve language. And we give prominence to SDL, self-directed learning. So the top part of the pie chart displays the traditional point of views, while the bottom parts display which we can apply even today, like discovery learning, self-directed learning, right? Collaborative work, scaffolding. That is, we believe that teachers need to plan proper ways of scaffolding learning. What happens in our classroom is teachers do not have a proper plan to intervene. They do not know how to scaffold. They do not know how to break down subject components into learnable sections, teachable sections. Sometimes when we observe, I have noted what they have planned is too much. Content is overloaded, so that teacher cannot bear. It is not teachable, and from learners' point of view, they cannot learn, they cannot absorb. Right? Now, I like this visual very much because this shows, I know my style of learning, so that I always prefer using. It's a very good way of organizing teacher-centered learning and student-centered learning. Right? You can see the teacher has been positioned in front of the class of students in the teacher-centered learning. Right? And the learners, how do they position?
Teacher as a facilitator.
No, I mean, if this is
Passive learners.
If this is a classroom, how are they seated in a teacher-centered learning environment?
In front of the students.
Teacher positioned in front of students. I'm asking how
Individually.
Individually, not as groups.
Individually.
Individually or as rows.
Rows.
As rows.
That is the traditional picture of our classroom. Typical Sri Lankan classrooms arranged in rows, right?
Yeah.
What is the second one?
Students.
Clusters.
Group work and pair work are there.
There are small clusters. We can see small clusters. And then
Interaction is
important. Look at the arrowheads. The knowledge, experience, and beliefs flow from teacher to students as well as students to teacher.
Students to teacher.
good rapport with the teacher. Teacher-student rapport is
Yeah.
Interaction
Previous
is
one, the teacher is
Facilitator.
considered as the source of information, knowledge, experience, everything teacher has to transmit. But here, learners' ideas are welcome, and their experience, their knowledge, and their beliefs are a part of lesson, right? So that is the difference between these two. Elements is the basis. On what basis we compare these two? Knowledge, when we take knowledge, in the teacher-centered approach, we believe that jug to mug, like transmitted knowledge from teacher to students. We are pouring knowledge, and students are like blank sheets. But student-centered approach, we know that knowledge can be constructed by students and they can take the initiative of, or they can control their learning process. Student participation is passive, but under student-centered approach, they are very active because they take the leadership initiative. Role of the teacher is the leader or the authority, the central figure of control. But in the latter, teacher as a facilitator and partner. Oh, yes. Like a participant in learning process. No hierarchy is maintained. When we take role of assessments, teacher-centered, the purpose is mainly for giving them a grade or brand. Okay, you have passed or you have failed, or offer marks. But under student-centered one, we do the same kind of assessment, but with another purpose. We want to measure the progress of an individual child, not to compare. Right? In order to help an individual learner, we assess the learner's progress. And teacher-centered approach, we focus on correct answers. We do not accept mistakes or errors. This under teacher-centered one, we use very traditional methods of assessments, but under student-centered one, we promote even peer assessment, self-assessment, right? Formative assessments more than the summative, because we take this assessment from the point of developmental purpose, not judgmental purpose. Under teacher-centered, what we do is we give a judgment. Okay. We are going to talk about different methods, but in a different manner. Right? I have prepared a format. Can you all read the content under the topic of the first column?
Madam, would you mind please scroll up the screen, madam? The last one is not visible just.
Last slide you want?
Yes, ma'am. Not last slide, madam. The last line of that. If you scroll up a bit, it's all right, I think.
Wait.
Yes, that's all right, madam.
No, wait. Sorry. Is it all right now?
Yes, ma'am, that's that. Thank you, madam.
Mhm. Right. Now, I have taken the first column to give some topics, right? The next 4 columns, you have abbreviations for different methods. Let's read the topics given in the first column. First column, first row, we have the word method. Right? Under methods, what are the methods I have taken? Can you go through?
Call.
Grammar translational method, audiolingual method,
Teacher. Practice response.
Total physical response.
TPR is total physical response. CLTM. Communicative language teaching method, right? And I have given some topics. Goal, medium of instruction, skills focused, position of mother tongue, techniques, instructional materials used, how errors are, sorry, there's a spelling mistake, how errors are treated, role of the teacher and the role of the learner. So who's going to fill the grid?
We.
Yes, you all. I don't know whether you have small groups within this batch.
No, madam, still not.
Okay, so today we need to, after today's session, I will ask Mr. Ajit to send me the name list. And for my convenience, I will put you into small groups, right? And give each group a name. And I will display the grouping, right? So today I'm unable to do it as a group. Let me find a way. I can follow this alphabetical order. Okay. The thing is, there are some participants without name, 21 and 73. A5S. So I don't know who they are, right? Anyhow, those who with the symbol A, starting with A, the participants group 21 and 73, A5S, Achini Abhenayaka, and Ayesha Vithanagi, BM Samarasinghe, Chamika, Chamodi, Chandima, Krishma. Up to Krishma, you all need to complete only the first method. What is it?
GTM.
GTM. Do I need to read the names once again?
How many members, ma'am?
I didn't, but I checked names up to D. Krishma Fonseca, right? Shall I read them again? Ayesha Vithanagi, A5, I don't know. Achini Abhenayaka, Anuradha Jayasinghe, Ayesha Vithanagi, BM Samarasinghe, and then I have this Chamika, Chamodi, Chandima, Krishma. 9 or 10, right? I can create breakout room for these people. Your breakout room will be 1, right? Got it?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So, Chamika, I appoint you as the leader of this team, right? So, be ready within the given time. And then I have this.
Excuse me, ma'am. Can you display the grid once again?
Wait. After grouping, I will display it, right?
Sure, ma'am.
Chaturika. Starting from Chaturika, Dania Liza, Dilan Sandakalum, Dilini Fernando, Dinusha, Dinushika, and DNW, Naveen Heva Vitarana, Nushka, Fatima, G.I. Velakidara, Gayatri Pereira. These people, they are 2, right? Group 2. Up to Gayatri. And what is your method?
Audiolingual.
Audiolingual method, okay. And then I'm starting the 3rd group. Listen well, right? Harshani, Hashani, Hashiba, Hashini Kure, Hasina Farooq, Keshani, Hiruni Bhagya, Hiruni Gunaratna, Hiruni Rashmi Sara, Indivari, Indra Chapa, Ishani Madhuka. And KB Ayesha Chaturangani. I will put you as well into that group, right? So they are group. And Kavisha also, Kavisha Hansani also in that, right? Group 3, up to Kavisha Hansani. So your method is TPR. And from there onwards, Fatima Husna, Madina Anif, Rifana, Mahesha, Mandira, Mandri, Musfira, Musliha, Nasruddin, Abhay Vikrama, Nipanjali, Nilupa, Niroshana, Niswana, Pavartani, Rashmi Manodari. Up to that, they are in group 4 and their topic is what? What is the topic? Group 4.
CLTM.
Thank you, Sanduni, for responding. Communicative language teaching. And now I'm going to put again another number 1, right? That is this. Somebody is using 2 devices, right? Number 5, this is group 5. Again, your topic is the first one, grammar translation method. So I'm going to start from, I think, Rehana. Am I right? Rehana, Rushda, Kanaga Sundaram, Sachini, Sachini Nuantara and Sachini Disanayaka. Nasir, Sanari Abe Singh, Sandani Jayasinghe, Sandareka Virajini, and Sanduni Aramba Sandupama Gallagi. They are in group 5 and topic is grammar translation method. And then group 6, Sandhya Sinhalagi and Priyangika, Sashi, 2 Sashis are there, Sashi Nagodagi, Sitara, Sripali Aryaratna, Supuntra Senanayaka, Sudarshini, Takshila Pereira, Tisara, Tushani Dakshika. So your topic is the second one, group 6, topic 2. What is the topic? Audiolingual method. And the rest of the people, Ushani, Vidurangi, Vindhya, Vinoda, Vatsala, Veerasekara and Yomali, you all have to work the last topic. That is group 7 and you all can work for the last topic. Communicative language teaching. So we have 2 groups for one topic except for the third topic, right? And I have put 7 groups. Now you can join your breakout room and finish it within 10 minutes, right?
අනිදානපයි.
I don't know what happened to some of the participants. Now only I have 63. Okay, now I want to know your experience in the group work. How did you feel your engagement in the group work? Do you like it or Do you want me to continue lecture mode?
Hari amma busy.
No, that's a good method, ma'am. We are strangers and we get to know each other, then that's all right with that.
Right. Yes, but I noticed some have disappeared, right? And though I, from time to time, checking the number, I assign some, though I divided you according to the alphabetical order, that means they have put the recorders on and left the session. So they didn't join. So I assigned them.
Yes,
from
ma'am.
time
I am
to time.
Sandhya and I belong to ALM audiolingual method, but I couldn't contact my participants.
Sorry?
I am Sandhya and my group was audiolingual method. Then I missed my members. I don't know. I tried many times to contact them.
That means you couldn't join the group.
No, madam. I joined, but I couldn't contact them. Without
Something wrong with mic.
Yes.
Mic. All right. Okay. So I went round. I went to each breakout room, and I want to appreciate one group. That is grammar translation method group 5. Who are the members? You can raise your hands up, the symbol, group 5. I noticed a very active discussion in that particular group, group 5. I can't remember the names, right? They were truly engaged. And then the first group, I appreciate them because they have nicely managed the group work. So you all are teachers and you need to know some techniques as well. What they have done first, am I correct? The group 1, when they said we divided the sections among ourselves, and they didn't waste time searching the same thing. Is that group 1?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. So I asked from all the others, some were engaged in the same thing. Everybody searching the same topic, right? Okay. Sandhuni Arambavath and Sanari Abhay Singh. Yes, they are group 5, I think. They were truly engaged in the work very actively. Even in schools, now we need to notice how they share responsibilities, right? We are learning methodology, so that is why I applied this. I tried to do this. Now I'm not going to ask the answers because I felt you need more time to organize this, right? Can I take this as a presentation next day?
Sure, ma'am. Please, ma'am, because we need more time.
Yeah, each group can prepare a slide with your findings, right? So you have to meet outside the Zoom platform and get ready for that, right? Okay. And next thing, eclectic approach. Hope you have heard this. Eclectic approach. Have you? Now, these days, do we recommend a particular method?
Yes, ma'am.
Do we recommend a particular method for your classroom teaching?
Sometimes you have to, ma'am, because we have to combine so many methods to teach the language.
No, you didn't get my question properly, right? My question is, have the government recommend the teachers to follow this method?
No,
No, no.
No, there's no prescribed method, right? So that you have more autonomy. You all are free birds, right? But some have created cages. By themselves, they have created cages.
Recording in progress.
But you are free. You have the freedom to choose between variety of methods. So what do you mean by eclectic approach?
A collection of methods, madam, used in various kinds of methods and teaching.
Right. Now, it is like this. If I take a practical example, now in a lesson, you have different stages, right? So you start your lesson displaying a table, and you get students to practice some structures. And then you move to mingling activity, where they use the practice structures in a simple conversation, a question and answer type conversation, right? And then you change another, what can I take there? Then you get them to construct dialogues, and their own dialogues using the structures that they practice. You give them a situation and you get them to create their own simple dialogues, and then finally you get them to act it, right? So when you go through the line of activities, we can see that I have borrowed techniques from different methods, right? So it's a combination of techniques taking or borrowing from different methods. I think now, okay, I want to take this technique because it saves my time to give the input. Okay, I will take this technique because it gives me to arrange more practice opportunities for my classroom, right? Likewise, the teacher can decide which technique to borrow from which method. So this combination is called eclectic approach. We are not restricted to one particular method. Instead, we combine, selecting whatever we want according to the context, according to my objectives, according to the level of my learners, right? So that we need to agree that teacher has more autonomy than the past. Do you agree or not? Nobody comes here to prescribe you. Okay, you have to practice grammar translation. You cannot deviate from that. So you have autonomy. You are the decision maker, right? Okay. Very simple activity, a blank filling. I tried to give input in a different way. Shall we try it? According to the context, not by. Wait. Okay. The term blank approach refers to a language teaching approach that blank various approaches. Can you guess the word for the first blank?
Elective.
eclectic approach. Eclectic, not electric. Eclectic.
Eclectic, yes. Okay.
Eclectic approach refers to a language teaching approach that, okay, you can type the answers. I will display this, you can type. Second one. That refers, consists of, users. Combine and combines. Teach language depending on the, sorry, various approaches and
Methodologies.
we'll see. To teach language depending on the blank of the lesson.
Objectives.
Aims
You
of
can
the
type
lesson.
the answer. You can type the answer with the number, right? Blank of the lesson, the level, and the blank of the learners. In other words, it is the name given to teachers' use of blank and activities from a blank of language teaching approaches to use depending on the aims of the lesson and the learners in the group. Almost all modern course books have a blank of approaches and methods. According to the main proponent of the eclectic approach, Rivers, 1981, it allows language teachers to absorb the blank techniques of all the blank language teaching methods into their classroom procedures, using them for the blank for which they are most appropriate. This is necessary and important because teachers faced with daily task of helping students to learn a new language cannot afford the luxury of complete dedication to each new method or approach that comes into vogue. The main blank of eclecticism is that it does not offer any guidance on what basis and by what principle aspects of different methods can be selected and combined. What is the word for the last blank? The main blank of eclecticism. Feature, goal, aim, combination, methods. Objective. Nobody has got the correct answer for the last blank, which I thought was the easiest one. right? My wrong assumption. I thought that would be very easy. That means you have not read the latter part of the sentence. Okay, let's go through the correct version of this, right? The term eclectic approach refers to a language teaching approach that combines, so you got it right, various approaches and methodologies to teach language depending on the aims of the lesson and the level and abilities of the learners. In other words, it is the name given to teachers' use of techniques and activities from a range of language teaching approaches to use depending on the aims of the lesson and the learners in the group. Almost all modern course books have a mixture of approaches and methodologies. The word is mixture of approaches, right? Maybe range we can use. According to the main proponent of the eclectic approach, Rivers, it allows language teachers to absorb the best techniques of all the well-known language teaching methods into their classroom procedures, using them for the purposes for which they are most appropriate. This is necessary and important because teachers faced with the daily task of helping students learn a new language, blah, blah, blah. The last blank, the main criticism, right? That is what you missed. The main criticism of the eclecticism is that it does not offer any guidance on what basis and by what principal aspects of different methods can be selected and combined. There's no rationale for selecting and combining these techniques from different methods. That is what, right? So it gives you a brief summary of what eclectic approach is, right? With that, let me check the time. It's 11:59. I will just introduce what we are going to do next. This is really important. I'm going to do this practically as much as possible. So types of planning. Now, what are the types of plans needed for you? Tell me.
Term
The
plans, lesson plans,
term plans,
lesson plans.
lesson plans. Okay, some voices are not clear. I heard only term plans and lesson plans. Okay. Any other?
Assessment plans, madam.
Okay, assessment plans, right? So that I will add that as well, right? It is not in the syllabus outline, right? But I will add. Okay. Which should be planned first? Lesson plan or term plan?
Annual plans, madam?
Term plan.
Term plan.
Term plan.
Term plan. Term plan in combination of term plan, we give the term, the name annual plan, right?
Annual. Yes.
So annual plan, when you prepare the annual plan, you have the term plans within that. Yes,
Yes.
Yomali, academic plan for the academic year means that your subject, the syllabus, you divide into the number of days and you include it in your plan. Okay. Apart from these, you have different types of plans, right? In the school, but we are not going to discuss them, like co-curricular plan, right? And the schools under special program called GEMP, they have the GEMP plan, right? Likewise, we have different plans, but our focus is on the subject related planning, which I'm going to start with what you called annual plan, right? Now I need your responses. What do you need to prepare the annual plan? Quickly type. What do you need to prepare the annual plan?
School calendar.
School calendar. Who prepares the school calendar?
MOE.
Right. Very good. What do you find in the school calendar? I'm asking for the others, those who don't know. What is given by MOE?
Number of working days, ma'am.
Right, very good. Number of working days and the beginning and end of each term determined by MOE. So you should know that the first thing we need is the school calendar, right? My next question, have you got the school calendar now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Good.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Then my task is easy. You can see this, right? I have given 2 lines for each term. If you can guess.
Yes.
Right. It's a very unique situation these days. Okay, do you know the date of the second term, the starting date?
Madam, it says second term, 24th of July.
Right.
It's tomorrow.
Yes. And ended, it ended.
17th of August.
Yes.
The first step, 24th of July to 17th of August. And there's another part, madam, from 28th of August to 27th of October.
Now, can you understand why I left 2 lines?
Yes.
We have first stage of term 2, second stage of term 2 likewise now. 28th August to
27th October.
27th October. Right. Can you tell me this first term beginning and end, if you can remember?
Starts on, I can't remember.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what to do, right? First thing, everybody, you need to fill this like what I did. Then you have to fill this third term. And we are going to take the total number of school days for each term. What is this, Bhagya? 27th March? End of first term? Or?
Oh, madam, it started on 23rd of March.
23rd of March. Okay. So ended 21st of 21st. or
I don't
22nd?
know whether it's the first stage, madam.
Yes, even now within this we have, I think, 2 stages. Please
Yeah.
check the calendar and fill this, right? I also have the calendar, but at the moment I don't have. 21st of July, no? Right. Because we need the specific number of days. Dilini.
Madam, it's a first stage, 27th of March to 4th of April.
27th.
23rd, madam, it's correct. 23rd, sorry, 23rd of March to 4th of April.
Wait. Yes, before the new year we had 4th of April. 4th of April. Okay.
And
Okay.
again, it started on 17th April.
17th of April. 17th,
17th of April to
17th of April to
26th of May, no?
yes. 26th of May.
May.
We got that O-level vacation, O-level examination.
Then again we started on 12th, no? 12th July, June.
12th July. June.
12th June to 20th July.
3rd June.
No, madam, 12th of June.
12th of June to 20th July.
21st. 21st of June.
Yeah, 21st of July.
So that now the government announced by 21st, what we did was ending the first term.
The first term, first category, first step.
Your
First
voice
step.
is going, so it's not clear. I'm sorry. So I wonder this 23rd of March up to 4th, is that the first stage of first term?
Yes, madam.
Right. So in the first term, we have 3 stages, it seems. And we are starting second term from 24th. Am I right?
Yes, madam, 24th of July, second term.
First,
Now what
first step
third
of
term?
second term. First step of the second term.
Third term.
October 30th, third term.
Is it 30th? If it is 27th October?
30th, madam. October 30th.
Yeah, ma'am, it's Friday. 27th means Friday. So 30th
Monday,
Monday, third term, first step.
First stage taking on
30th
November
of October.
30th of
Monday.
October
to
until
November 24th.
24th of November.
24th of November. Okay.
Then second stage, 1st of January 2024. Up to 16th of February.
Right. Now, this is something you have to do. Take a calendar, count the exact number of working days. That means you have to deduct the public holidays likewise and include the total number of days for each term, right? We need this. This is really difficult, not like the previous years, because now we have extended. Right, Dilini? So you have done third term, 8 May to 8 August. Okay. Anyway, Dilini, when I explain, I hope you can get the idea of how to prepare a term plan. This is the basis, right? What we need is the number of school days, working days, and then we need to do another calculation. I'm showing you the next grid. The first column, the grades that you handle, right? And then you need to have the syllabus, right? In the syllabus, the syllabus grade, the last column, have you seen they have prescribed a number of periods? Have you seen that?
Number of periods. Period.
The last column.
No,
In
madam,
the
the last column is remarks, ma'am.
Which one you mean? Is that something you prepared? I'm asking about the official document. Don't go after different sources or different documents that you have downloaded. I'm referring to the official documents, right? You take the teacher's guide and you have a table. Syllabus is given in the form of a table: competency level, subject content, learning outcomes, and number of periods, right? So if it is grade 9, you need to calculate the number of periods given in the last column, the total number, right? Got it? I have grade 9, 3, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 19, 21, 25, 28, 30, 33, 36, 38, 42, 46, 50, 56, 61, 66, 71, 75, 78, 71, 70, sorry, 81, 84, 87, 89, 91, 95, 97, 100, 106, 10, 114, 16, 21, 25, 26, 31, 36, 41, 46, 59, 52, 55, 58, 60, 160. I don't know, I calculated my, just say that number of periods here according to this. Okay, Sandupama, I will go through this K-12 and come up with an answer next time, right?
Okay, ma'am.
Right. The procedure is same, but I need to go through your one, right? So the number of periods, if it is given, you have to calculate and put. And then we need to enter number of periods according to the school calendar. Right? Give an example. We say 207. මෙච්චර දවස් නෑ දැන් අපිට. And then we need to allocate time for school-based assessments and term tests. Usually for grade 9s, how long is the term test? 5 days or 7 days? Number of days?
Normally 7 days, ma'am, with the aesthetic subjects.
Right,
7.
7 days per week, sorry, per term. And then we have 3 terms. That means 21 days we have to deduct for term test. Got it? Why? For one term test, if you take 7 days, this is how I calculate, right? For each term, 7 days, and that means 7 into 3. And if you conduct school-based assessment, how many school-based assessment per term or monthly test?
1.
How many days we need? I will take this monthly test, for example, right? If you conduct monthly test, 1 period for that, that means
3 period.
we don't have school for each month.
So 2.
It is 9, we'll say 9 months, right? 9 days, right? That means 21 into 9. That means from the number of school days for this testing, formative and summative test, we have to reduce time. Did you understand that? You have to do this activity to know the depth of this number of periods taken for other school events. Now, for example, you have SIL
Sports.
observation, right? School day celebration, Teachers' Day celebration, this celebration and that celebration, right? So you have this extracurricular calendar in the school that is unique to your school. I cannot predict. Right? The school calendar of Royal College differs from Tantirimale Vimalajnana in Vilachia, right? So that is why each teacher should prepare his or her own term plan. What I strictly believe is you cannot borrow and implement somebody's term plan. I'm doing this to give you that particular idea. Imagine you have 10 events on 10 school days. So then you need to deduct another 10 days, right? So if it is the situation in a school, 30 days and 10 days, you have to reduce from the total number of school calendar days in the school calendar, right? We'll take this 200 just to show you. If it is 200 and if you deduct this, how many days will be remaining for you?
160 days.
160
days.
So luckily this number tallies with this. Can you see? So no excess or shortage of periods. But when we, I have done this with my teachers, right? And we realize for some grades, we need to create dates. If we prepare this plan properly, we know how many extra periods we need to cover up the syllabus. Sometimes it is like 15 extra days, right? Then you need to find these extra periods after school classes or morning. That is what you are going to write under remarks. This is not your term plan, but this calculation is essential to go forward, preparing your term plan. Will you please calculate all this information and bring it next time? This is a homework. Will you be able to do this? Those who are doing the primary can include primary grades and do this. No answer. Is it difficult?
No, madam, we'll do that.
Yeah, if you want to get hands-on experience, sorry, Dinusha. So Dinusha is telling some of the students are not still, they haven't got their teaching appointments. Dinusha, if you are doing, if you have a target of becoming a teacher, right? And you are going to be a 21st century teacher. My advice, I am an age-old teacher. You all are very young and you belong to new era. So what is my advice is do not wait till things come into your doorstep. You step forward, find materials. All these things are available online. Go to NI website, download the syllabus, right? So this will help you to calculate the number of periods. But regarding Sandupama's section, K-12, if you can share what you have regarding K-12, the syllabus, I can come up with the answer for preparing this plan, right?
Okay, ma'am.
Today
Ma'am,
itself you share it. Yes.
yeah, ma'am, we don't have like those kind of 40 minutes periods. Still, we have 50-minute sessions. Like
Yeah,
we have
right.
a little
1
break.
hour. Okay. But
Yeah.
you have specific date for school start and end?
Yeah, yeah, there
So
is
that is your school calendar. So what I need is today you have to share your school calendar, right? You have semesters, I think.
Yeah, semesters, we have semesters.
Yeah. So your semester plan and the number of days in each semester and the number of assessments that you do for each semester, how long it is, right?
It's like, ma'am, we have like mid exams and semester end exams, and each semester has 2 terms, and each one we should
right.
do.
Now I cannot keep all these details in my mind. So can you just send me a text with necessary
Okay, ma'am.
information? Right. Then I can cater to your needs as well, right?
Okay, thank you.
I believe that both whether with whatever your teaching context, you need this annual plan plus your daily plan, right? I don't know whether the schools require it, but for you to be a good teacher, for you to deliver an effective lesson, you need this plan. And I know that some teachers, they do totally private classes. Even for that, it's like you are getting into a bus without knowing the destination, where to get down. So let's have this plan, prepare plan, and try to be very good professionals in the ELT field, irrespective of the context that we work, right? Okay, thank you very much. I took more time from your part, but I wanted to give this practically, that is why, right?
Madam, excuse me.
Yes.
Madam, is there a course manual for TES cell methodology?
Yes.
We didn't get that, madam.
Contact your course coordinator, that girl, and she will send, right? Usually it is sent to you from the branch, so I'm not responsible for sending it. I have my copy, but it is their duty, so they will send, right? Make a request.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Welcome. And the other thing, batch 13, do you have a group, specific group for you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Then are you willing to add me to that group?
That is under the Lincoln University admin, madam.
Ah, really?
I hope so,
Okay.
yes.
Right.
Excuse me, are you talking about the Google Classroom or WhatsApp group?
No, WhatsApp group, because I can share documents directly to you all if you have such a thing. Never mind, I will coordinate.
Madam, there's only 3 admins, madam. Mr. Ajit and 2 other, madam.
Okay. I will do via the university, right? Okay, don't worry.
Thank you, madam.
Yeah, come, and I'm going to wind up. Thank you for your active participation.
Thank you, madam. Get well soon, madam.
Thank you.